Well, hey there, everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here. Another Wednesday, and here we are. Ask Dave Fennoy anything. It's just me today and you. So if you want to pop in, especially fans of my work, not necessarily other voiceover actors, and say hello, you're so often there. And I just want to let you know, fans of my work, I truly do appreciate you. Some other ways to reach me, if you would like autographs, well, not so much autographs, but birthday wishes, those kinds of things, I can be found on Cameo. All right. This and all the other Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training, available to you 24/7, 365. If you are interested in working with me, coaching, improving your voiceover skills, just click on davefennoy.com, and there's a little tab at the top says Study VO. Click, and you can, book yourself. And follow me at Dave Fennoy on Twitter X. Hey, here's the first person that popped up here. KGB, the awesome gamer. Hello, KGB, and thank you for popping in. Had another really great session today outside my own studio. It's always a pleasure when you're working. Well, I love working inside my own studio too. But when you get out of the house, you're in somebody else's studio, somebody else is the engineer, and you're working with a great director. It was just a great team. Can't tell you more about the game, but this is the kind of work that we do that if money weren't a thing, we'd do it for free because we love it so much. And I tell you, if you're somebody in this business and you are earning a living doing this, which I have been since, a little bit before I came to LA, but definitely from 1990 in LA, it has been my living, and it's just been fantastic. Of course, nothing lasts forever. That sounded kind of ominous, didn't it? No, not talking about retirement. No, I'm talking about AI though. I refuse to believe that AI is going to steal away all of our jobs. But AI is becoming a bit of an issue, and Scarlett Johansson had a bit of an issue, and let's look at that story. Scarlett Johansson says OpenAI copied her voice for ChatGPT's Sky. Now, Sam Altman, he's the guy that owns OpenAI or ChatGPT, OpenAI. He denies it. Well, she is threatening Sam Altman and his company, OpenAI, with legal action, alleging they copied her voice for ChatGPT's without her permission. Now, here's how the story goes. She voiced an artificial intelligence assistant in 2013 science fiction film called Her, and says ChatGPT's Sky voice is so eerily similar to hers that her closest friend cannot tell the difference. Now, she says Sam Altman asked her to be the voice of his AI several months ago, but she turned him down, and it seems like months later, he has copied her voice anyway. Well, 2 days before ChatGPT 4.0 demo was released, Mr. Altman contacted my agent, she says, and asked me to reconsider. But before we could respond, the system was out there. Altman denies that the voice is Scarlett Johansson's and says he supports stronger protections against deepfakes and works to prevent ChatGPT's synthetic voices from copying those of real people. Yeah, right. Altman said in a statement late Monday, the voice of Sky is not Scarlett Johansson, and it never was intended to resemble hers. We cast the voice actor behind Sky's voice before any outreach to Miss Johansson. Out of respect for Miss Johansson, we have paused using Sky's voice in our products. We are sorry to Miss Johansson that we didn't communicate better to her. Uh, Turns out they had reached out to her a couple of days before, asked if she would reconsider, and she didn't even have a chance to get back to them uh, before that voice that really is hers. A Sunday blog from OpenAI says Sky's voice is not an imitation of Scarlett Johansson, but belongs to a different professional actress using her own natural speaking voice, and that the company carefully selected each of the voices over the course of a 5-month process. And when you look at the picture, it looks like really, we found another actress. Who? Who is that other actress? Bring her forward. Let's hear what she sounds like. Johansson says her legal counsel wrote 2 letters to Altman and OpenAI asking them to detail the exact process by which they created the Sky voice. Consequently, OpenAI reluctantly agreed to take down the Sky voice. Gee, I wonder why. Because it was probably, excuse my French, bullshit. They didn't find another actress. They cloned her voice. So crazy. So that's kind of the look I think she had on her face in public for when she was reading all this BS that Altman was spouting. And this, I think, is her actual inner dialogue concerning these things. Oh, boy. So what do you think about AI? What do you think about this particular incident with AI? I think it's a good signpost for where we are and what we have to be afraid of. That all too often businesses, if there's a nickel in it, forget human rights. And I was just reading earlier today that your image you can own, but your voice so far is not protected. And our voices need to be protected. And I want to thank NAVA, National Association for Voice Artists, Tim Friedlander, Karen Gilfrey, Matthew Parham. And I understand my friend Sissy Jones was also there, not in the picture. There they are in front of Adam Schiff's office. And gee, I bet it's Democrats who are willing to talk about this. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. But we need protection. Now, in my case, I mentioned on Facebook the other day that my voice had been cloned. How did I find out? Well, certainly not from the people who cloned it. One of my agents got a note from a fan. Once again, thank you, fans, who said there was this website that was advertising that they had Dave Fennoy's voice on a character that you can play this character. And I was like, this is not a game I'm in. This is nothing I know about. I didn't audition for this. Nobody called me, booked me, asked me, and definitely not paid me. And I wrote them a letter and said, look, you need to take this down. But I also reached out to my friend Tim Friedlander, who has been very instrumental, along with the rest of NAVA, on getting the information and fighting the fight to save our rights as voice actors, not to be cloned, to have choice in the work we do, and definitely get paid for our voices that we are in control of. And it turns out there are some loopholes here. This site has a quasi permission to do what they did. Gaming companies, when you signed a contract, and they had gotten my voice from a game I'd done, maybe 10 years ago. And the gaming company, in your contract, at least in that contract, and be careful of this in your own contracts now, said they have the right to do with your performance whatever they need to do. Now, you usually think of that as, well, if you want to do a promo for the game, we can use your voice for that. And that makes sense. It's like being in a movie trailer, and the performances of those actors, they can take little snippets and use them. But it also says that, well, it doesn't confine itself to that use. So there are some other game companies out there that are online, that they will allow to use the performances of people who have been in their games. And this seems to be what they're doing. I got an email back from telling them, hey, look, cease and desist. Are you the owner of this performance? Not are you the owner of this voice? Are you the owner of this performance? If you are not the owner of this performance, well, they didn't say it this way, but legally they said, go fuck yourself. This isn't done. This isn't done. But this is the world we're living in right now. So these tales will go on. I'd love to hear some of yours. And let me just bring some people up here. L.C. Brodus. Hi, Dave. Very concerned how we can protect ourselves against unauthorized AI duplication. Oh, yes. Carolyn C. I haven't heard the alleged copied voice. Where can I listen? It's a company called Black Tree Gaming Limited. They are out of Exeter in the UK, and it's a character named Azzan, Azzan. Now, when I went back today, because I was going to grab some pictures and use them today on this, when I went back today, because I had said, look, take it down, I couldn't get into the site from my computer. I don't know if I went to a different computer, if that would work. But all I had was a little questionnaire, are you the owner of this performance? Not voice, performance. We'll see. The saga will go on. Terry Briscoe, my buddy. Hey, Dave. Hey, ADFA fam. And Wendy Baines. Mr. Fennoy, what words of wisdom would you share with someone who hesitates about getting back into the industry given all the stuff, AI, in-home studios, etc.? There's always going to be some excuse not to do something you want to do that's probably going to come from, people who love you as well as people who don't. Sometimes people are looking out for you and they're afraid that you're going to get your feelings hurt, or you're giving up that job or that other thing. You're going in that direction. It's going to pull you away from whatever. Ignore these people. Go for your heart's desire. Now, I'm saying that with the idea that you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to do those things that you haven't done to get to that place that you haven't been. But be careful of who you listen to, who you even tell your plans to. Sometimes your plans sound like madness to other people, but they're not madness to you. So I say go for it. All right, Jordy Hernandez. Yo, Dave, as someone who happens to have a BS in IT, I strongly feel concerned about AI and its use on duplicating voices. I'm curious to hear how we can help protect voice actors from AI duplication. Well, it's going to have to be in the courts. And that's where not only NAVA, but SAG-AFTRA is, which I was reading this concerning the Scarlett Johansson case. SAG-AFTRA said it's backing Johansson. The influential union that represents television and radio artists is fighting over the rights to actors' voices and images as studios look to tap AI to create entertainment. We thank Ms. Johansson for speaking out on this issue of crucial importance to all SAG-AFTRA members. And it's all of us. Now, I'm a SAG-AFTRA member. Perhaps not all of you are. But if you're a voice actor, if you're an actor, period, this is something we have to be concerned about. Now, do I want to throw out AI? No, AI actually has been around for a long time. The reason we can plug in an address and drive to a place with our cars telling us where to go, that's AI. There are a lot of things that are wonderful about AI, but the old yin and yang is always there. There's a good side, there's a bad side. And we want to embrace the goods. We want to push back the bad. And it's going to take time, talent, legal minds, and courage to do all this. All right. LC again. I thought the actor strike was supposed to put on the agenda for VO talent. It was on the agenda, and it's going to be on the agenda. You know, the negotiation between unions and management, very rarely does either side get everything they want. But for those of us who are workers, which we are, a lot of us realize in some ways we are an independent business, but we are working for an industry. And the more we band together and protect ourselves and have fair wages for all of us, fair treatment for all of us, the more power there is in negotiation. When I got into this business, almost everything was union, and pay rates were up. Now, pay rates are down. And this is not a trend that is just in voiceover. We talk about inflation. It's not inflation, it's greed. Our corporations are making 30, 40, 50% more these days than they did a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And it's not because they're selling more product, it's because they have jacked the prices up. Shrinkflation, they're making the size of the box smaller, those kinds of things. And until we as a society band together and say, no, we're not taking that, they're going to continue doing it to us. Terry Briscoe, I've had at least 7 people reach out to me saying they heard me on a commercial advertising YouTube. I haven't heard it myself, but it's very fishy having that many people hit me up and ask me about it. Yeah, Terry, tell me about it. This thing that I talked about today is not the first time someone has said, hey, I heard you on such and such, or so your voice has been cloned on someplace. Often you hear it in passing, you don't remember exactly what it was, so you don't get all the information, so you can't find it. You might hear me on Google. I'm one of the Google voices. That they paid me for. But we're in this world now, and anybody who flips through Facebook videos or TikTok knows how many of these AI voices are out there that we're hearing all the time. And I really question whether those voices that we hear so often are getting paid. Every time I hear the voice, I wonder. I also tend to flip those voices off and go to something else with a human voice because they just don't sound right to me. All right, Salt. I've heard Tim say that there's legislation in the works to protect us, even in the case of these loopholes, working retroactively. I certainly hope so. We had that talk about this as well. But until it is signed, sealed, and delivered, we're in this limbo. Let's see. ITZFRANK. It's Frank. Got it. The potential of AI is limitless. I mean that in the worst possible way. We need limits and bounds for this stuff. We absolutely do. You know, I was reading not too long ago, a few months ago, some of the people who have worked on AI, are leaders in AI, have said, look, we need to slow down. We've got to be careful. It can do some amazing things. I'm not saying we should ignore AI in terms of it's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Certainly not. But we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. There are some really wonderful things about AI, but there's some things that we really, really, really need to be concerned about. Salt again. There is software in beta, also led by our favorite Tim, that will help allow us to copyright our voices. And yeah, that software in beta form, it's like a watermark on anything that comes from your voice so that you are identified. And you can see when your voice is being used in places where it's not supposed to be. Now, you can imagine the challenge that is, that any place your voice is heard, hopefully anywhere in the United States, hopefully anywhere in the world, there's a little message that is sent. This voice was used here on this platform. That's going to be some hella AI technology. Let's hope they can do that sooner rather than later. Julie Ayotte. Question. I feel there are so many people out there saying they are now a VO coach. Seems more and more coming out of the woodwork. What is a good way to vet the good ones? You know what? That is a very good question. One of the things I will suggest is, I'm going to give you a few things. If you're trying to get into voiceover, associate yourself with voiceover people. It's probably easier to do now than ever because of Facebook, because of LinkedIn, because of the internet in general. You can join Facebook groups that have a voiceover. You can align yourself with people on LinkedIn who do voiceover. And you can ask questions. Hey, I'd like to learn how to do narration. Who's a good narration coach? I'd like to learn how to do TV promos. Who's a good TV pro? Give me 5 names. Give me 10 names. I promise you, you do that with 10 or 15 people, you'll start to see the right names, the ones that keep coming up on that list. There might be a few names that only pop up once, but most of the time, you're going to get a feeling of who those people that you want to connect yourself with are. So ask for advice. Ask for people to give a list. Go to like VO Atlanta, not necessarily the event, but the website. Go to the websites of other conventions. That's voiceover. NAVA, the Northeastern Voiceover Conference, WOVO. Go to those sites. Who are the people they are bringing in to talk to the people coming to that convention? Those are the people that you want to connect with. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of people out here that, gee, I'm not booking. Let me hang a shingle. I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years. I had one really good job. Let me hang a shingle. You need some time doing this. There's an old saying, I've forgotten more than you'll ever know. You need somebody who's been around for a long, long time. Now, maybe not as long as I've been. I've been doing this for 30-something years. But a good at least 5, more likely 10 years in this game, and the track record to prove it. Anybody can go to my IMDb page. You'll scroll for days. And there's so many others like that. And we recommend each other. When people ask me about good promo, well, let's see, Joe Cipriano, there's Dave Walsh, there's a few other names I would add. Narration names that I would add. I'm not going to go through them because I'm going to forget somebody and they're going to be pissed off at me. But that would be the way to do it. Involve yourself in a voiceover group and ask questions. Who should I go to for this? All right. Oh, just a quickie here. Liney. Hello, Dave. Greetings and a hello to you. And Jeff Burns, haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you here. And let's see. Mr. Terry Briscoe again. To shift gears to something more positive, you've done a lot of work in the business and either knocked down doors or loosened them for others to knock down. But if you had to choose what project that you are the most proud of, what would that be? It might not be what you think it is. There are a number of projects, but some of my proudest work was being the voice of the NAACP Image Awards for about 15 years. That there was a lot of pride involved with that for me, for what the NAACP and the Image Awards are. Uh, last couple of years, I've been doing the Griot Awards, which is very similar. It picked up the NAACP Image Awards. Uh, it felt like it lost a little bit of its class, and the Griot Awards kind of picked that up, and I've been fortunate to do that. Um, I was really happy and proud to be a voice of the Disney Channel when I first came to LA. I wasn't the singular voice, but I was one of the voices. That was before they went all kids. Um, and of course, if you're talking video games, the Walking Dead game playing Lee Everett. And why? One, it was such a great character to play. It's a character that was really close to me, not only in my heart because I like the guy, um, but we had a lot in common. I have a daughter that I did my best to protect all my life. Uh, as everybody else, I've got regrets. Things I did when I was younger. Now, I didn't kill anybody or anything like that, but we've all done some things, made some choices, hurt some feelings, said some things perhaps that really didn't mean, or maybe we even meant them at the time, but we grew up and discovered that wasn't anything that we should have been saying. So Lee Everett had some regrets. He had killed his wife, her lover, and he was off to jail. He had been a college professor. His life was over, and the zombie apocalypse freeing him and meeting Clementine gave him a chance to redeem himself. And I think sometimes we all just want that chance to redeem ourselves. And no, I'm not going to talk about Diddy. Uh, I saw the apology. Little too late, Diddy. Little too late, man. All right. Victor Singleton. A lot of people are trying to sell quick start kits. Don't fall for it. You know, that's so true. I see those. Hi, how are you? I'm Dave Fennoy, and I've been doing voiceover for about 40 years. Now, if you'd like to have a successful career like me, I've got this package that you've just got to try. It's page after page of all the best stuff, all the right information. And if you buy right now, I'll not. Yeah. There's a bunch of those. Um, you know, uh, we want good salesmen, but even more than good salesmen, we want people that are actually going to deliver the goods, that aren't just out to take your money. And unfortunately, all too often that is the case. Jeff Burns, VO Resource Guide is a good source. Why didn't I think of that? Of course. And the VO Resource Guide has been around uh, for decades. When I first came to LA in 1990, every studio you went to, there was this little long rectangular uh, publication, the VO Resource Guide. And in it, it had where all the studios were, it had all the agents, just a wealth of information that you needed. And now it's online, the VO Resource Guide. Just Google that and get that info. All right. Mark Sterling. Hi, Dave. How do you feel about actors willingly giving permission to have their voices cloned? Example, James Earl Jones is allowing studios to use AI to clone his voice for Darth Vader. I'm going to repeat this. The idea of cloning your voice is not necessarily a bad thing, but you want to be in control, which means they can't just use it for everything. You want to know that your voice is being used. You just don't want it out there willy-nilly and, hey, that's me. I would never have said that. And you want remuneration. You want to get paid for it. So, yes, this can be a boon to voiceover actors. but we have a lot to watch out for right now. Right now, we're in the wild west of AI and cloning voices. Ah, Latanya Perk, Image Awards. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I said. 15 years. Griot Awards. Wait, do you have another one? I also did the American Music Awards, Teen Choice Awards, Music Cares from the Grammys, the Governor's Awards from the Academy. So, done a lot of award shows. Bernard! Whoa, that one's a little weird. Show me a man without regrets, and I will show you a sociopath. So true, so true, so true. And well, let's see. Is that it tonight? Is that all the questions? Well, we can talk about something else. Once again, though, I'm going to mention a couple things. Let me have some more questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna call it a short night and go up and put my feet up and chill for a little bit. Um, I want to shout out to NAVA again, the National Association of Voice Actors. I'm on their advisory board, but I gotta say, it's a lot of other people that are really doing the heavy lifting. And in that list, of course, Tim Friedlander, Karin Gofrey, and Matthew Parham, who have been to D.C. twice uh, to meet with congressmen and senators and their representatives about AI and representation for us and legislation for us to make this wonderful technology that should benefit us all become that, as opposed to something to rip us off. So, once again, Nava, tip of the hat, a little salute. And also going to say SAG-AFTRA as well. Um, Unions have been picked on since Ronald Reagan shut down the flight union there. What's it called? It'll come to me. Since then, and unions have been losing workers and losing workers and losing workers. And guess what? Salaries have been going down and going down and going down. But for some reason, uh, there are people who were able to convince the working class that you were better off making less money, that somehow being in a so-called right-to-work state, which when somebody says something like that, turn it over. It's a right to pay you less state. That somehow it's better for you to make less money and negotiate your individual self with this giant corporation than be part of 20, 30, 40, 100,000 workers all standing together and saying, nope, we want safer conditions, we want more money, we want vacations, uh, we want childcare for our kids, whatever that might be. And these things are not impossible. We have politicians that will tell us that, oh, this is communism or socialism, whatever. Um, we're about the only country in this modern world that doesn't have a decent healthcare system. Well, we've got something better than we used to have with Obamacare, and doesn't have strong unions, doesn't have more vacation time. Look at Scandinavia. Look at what Europe is doing. All right, let's see. Oh, some more questions popped up. Michael Sessoms. There. The voiceover resource guide. Michael, thank you so much. He put it in the chat if you are interested. J. Horace Black. Hey, Dave, what's your approach to doing live announcer shows that you just mentioned? Do you audition for those via your agent or manager? I've auditioned for a few, but typically they know of my work and I get hired. I'm trying to remember what's the last thing that I did that I auditioned for. Can't remember what it is. It wasn't griot. Don't remember. Typically, they just come to me. But wait a minute, there was more to your question than that. Um, what's my approach to doing live announcer shows? Well, one, you got to pay attention. Let me give you an idea of what's that like. Um, Oftentimes, there's no rehearsal before the day of the show. But you arrive early. If the show's at 5 o'clock, maybe you're arriving at 2. And they sometimes you're not the most important thing in the world to them. So sometimes when you get there, they haven't thought about where they're going to set you up yet. You might be in a truck outside of the venue. You might be off to the side of the stage. You might be in a room in the back someplace in the building. You are going to have a microphone, typically a shotgun mic, like I have that I'm talking into right now. You're going to have a screen that you're looking at. You're going to have headphones and a little off-on button for your microphone. And you're going to get a thick notebook with every word that is to be said in this program. So the first thing I start to do is mark my pages. I want to either fold them over, or if I have little note tabs, a little tab, so my pages are coming up here, and I go through and I do a little pre-read. And sooner or later, they're going to say, hey, we're going to do a rehearsal. And they're not going to rehearse all the music or all the speeches, but you're a cue to cue. And that's your opportunity to go through, and if some mistakes have been made, they'll correct those mistakes there. When it's showtime, you want to make sure you have some water. You want to make sure that you have gone to the boys' room or men's room or the bathroom, so that you don't get yourself in a tight of some kind and miss a cue. You don't want to be distracted. Now, when I was doing it, we didn't have these things around so much. Some of the more recent jobs I've done, yes, we had them, but turn them off, put them away. Things happen fast, and you've got to be paying attention. One of the things that happens when you're working with a lot of celebrities, often they are late for one reason or another. And things have to change. People may be flying in with new pages, sometimes seconds before you're going to have to go on. You have to maintain your cool. And you can't make any mistakes. Now, we're reading stuff here live off the cuff on this show and other places. You make mistakes. You can't make mistakes live. I've heard some terrible ones. One of the worst things you want to do is mispronounce somebody's name. So you really want to find out if there's some names you don't know, find out what they are. I was doing some things for the BET Awards for several years, and I had finally hit that age where I didn't know who all the musicians were, who all the rappers were. And I had to get in touch with my stepdaughter and ask her, hey, listen, I've got all these names. They're spelled like this. Who are they? How do I pronounce this? Because sometimes the event can't tell you or doesn't know, or they can't be bothered because they've got other things that they're worrying about. So I would always find out who everybody was and how to pronounce their names, because nobody wants to hear their name pronounced incorrectly. And I've seen it happen on some shows. Fortunately, never me. But that's what you're in for. It's a wonderful job. It's one of the things I like best. I truly do enjoy doing that kind of work. But little pressure. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Galena White. Hey, everyone. Oh, everybody remembers you were here. Let's see. Well, how do you pronounce your last name? Latanya? She can't tell me. Why am I asking? What suggestion do you have for us to make sure the terms in our contracts protect our voices from AI usage without our permission? Well, at the time that I signed that contract, which may have been a decade ago, AI wasn't a thing. As I mentioned early on, talking about it, one of the things they want to use your voices for, if they've been given permission to use your voice outside of the show they're in, for promotion. Maybe they're showing a scene of your character and another character doing something, and that's part of the trailer, the advertisement. That makes sense. But now AI has come along, and it affords that company other opportunities to use the property that you signed away. You didn't sign away your voice, but you did sign away your performance. That language is going to have to change, which means we will have to have language in our contracts that say this performance can only be used in these situations. Uh, they cannot be sold to a third party who will then use that performance, or worse, take that performance, put it through an AI company, and then start using your voice for something else. But we're going to need the law on our side. So once again, SAG-AFTRA and the National Association of Voice Actors, we're working on it. Things don't happen overnight, but we're going to keep knocking on the door and fingers crossed, saying a prayer, and maybe sacrifice a chicken for dinner that we can get this done. All right. J. Horace Black again. Uh, so with right, no, that's, sometimes right and right sound the same, but you wrote so with right to work states, it would be safe to say, as an actor that is looking to make a living, those particular states would not be places to locate to, correct? Well, you know what? I would say yes, but there's a lot of people in Florida and Georgia and other places that have turned away unions. People do have to make a living there. I'm not saying you should just get up and move, but you might want to think about who you are putting in office that tells you that being paid less is better than you being able to work together with other people doing the same job to get fair pay, fair benefits, and so forth. Latanya, is it Peegs? Anyway, is there a routine you have to warm and prepare before every read you do for a client? Uh, Not so much a routine. You get up, um, do a little breathing, I drink my coffee, I stay hydrated. Um, but I think you find, especially as you get older, and especially if you're working a lot, sometimes your voice just isn't at 100%. I don't think my voice has been at 100% for a long time, but whatever the percent it is, it's still working pretty well. Uh, but I think, like other things, sometimes as you get older, as you use your voice more, there's some notes, if we're talking about high notes, that maybe you can't reach. Maybe some voices you used to do that you can't do. Um, Fortunately, I've got a good range. Uh, there was another part of that I wanted to answer. No, it'll come to me. J. Horace Black, how do you ready yourself for the audition performance? Same ways you do with other genres? What's the best way to prepare for those types of performances? Do you prep daily? I end up prepping daily because I audition every day. So I am prepping for something all the time. Uh, a lot of time, there's some things that you do that are going to take less preparation than some other things. I think the things that take the most preparation are um, character work. And this is going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm really not. But it's all character work. But if you are playing a particular kind of character that has a lot going on in backstory, you have to understand the backstory and know when that backstory shows up in your read. Uh, You have to envision uh, where you are, what you're wearing. Are you sitting? Are you standing? Are you walking? Uh, what are you reacting to? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? What's the relationship you have with the person you're talking to or persons you're talking to? And where are they in relationship to you? Are they close? Are they far away? Are you talking to yourself? What are you actually thinking? You have to give your character their inner dialogue. Um, all too often, we're just way too concerned with saying these words. And if I give these words some kind of song, then they're going to come out and give the thought and feeling that I'm trying to give, and nothing could be further from the truth. This is the exhaust of the acting engine. And that's going to hold true for so many things. Narration. Now, style can change. If you're playing a newscaster and your style of how you're speaking is going to change. If you're doing TV promos, if you're doing drama, it's going to be one thing. But if you're doing comedy, it's going to be something else. You want to understand those things. Commercials run the gamut. Are you a character in the commercial that's part of the story to get these people to sample this product, or are you the spokesperson in this commercial? And as a spokesperson, are you professional? Are you the guy you're supposed to trust? Because I'd have all the knowledge. Or are you, hey, wow, this happened to me and I bought this product and man, I feel so much better. Are you that guy? Understanding who you are within that commercial, that promo, that game, that cartoon, that's what you got to do. It's all character work. And character work can be very subtle, and it can be you. A lot of people, when they get a piece of copy, they don't know how to say it because they don't really know who they are yet. I'm going to suggest recording yourself. I know you listen to radio and TV commercials. You're paying attention. What is that? Ooh, what does this commercial sound like? Who's the voice on that? What do they sound like? Oh, let me get that Morgan Freeman read. I understand that, and all that's good. But find out who you are. Record yourself in your natural habitat, talking with your significant other, talking with your friends, taking a business call, answering the phone when it's a salesperson that you don't want to talk to. What do you sound like then? Kind of get to know yourself, your own natural rhythm of things, your own natural song in your voice. I promise you that will help you. Let's see. Wendy Baines, thank you for answering my question. Yes, I'm going to throw my hat back into the arena. I'll touch base with you later. What's your advice on creating a career in audiobooks? It's the big open door. It's not for everyone. It's not for me. I'm working on one now that a friend of mine that I used to work with in promos has written. It's a great book. It's taking me forever. And mostly because I'm so busy doing other things. My good friend Scott Brick says, if you like being in a closet 5 to 8 hours a day, reading a great story, then it's for you. Audiobooks are not for me. Those who do them, got nothing for love for you. I once made about $5,000 saying next. So when I think about, oh gosh, how many pages is that? How many words do I read? How many hours do I have to do this for? It doesn't make sense to me. But once again, it's the big open door. And for some people, it is perfect. And I have nothing but respect for the audiobook narrators that are doing this day in and day out. You're doing a hell of a job. But yeah, that's an open door for you in voiceover. All right, Latanya again. How long does it take to get paid after you have provided VO services for a client? Well, it depends on the client, but most of the time, couple weeks maybe. Sometimes you get paid if you write it into your contract. They might pay you within a day or so. If you don't trust them, get paid up front. Because I'm a good union member, I don't have to worry about that. I've got somebody to collect my money. I have agents who will also dog a client who isn't paying. So generally, I'm paid in a couple of weeks. Terry Briscoe, Nava has the AI writer that you can ask to be added to your contracts. I'm trying to make it standard for all my work. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't know why I forgot about that writer. J. Horace Black again. Oh, my last question pertained to live announce. For the audition. Prep for the audition for live shows. You know, sometimes you don't get an audition. And if you do get an audition, it's just going to be a few lines. They want to hear what you sound like. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the such and such a place. It's so and so, and please welcome your hosts, blah, 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 blah. They want to see if you fit with the feeling of that show, if they like your voice, if they like your delivery, if you actually speak to their audience. That's what they're looking for. And, you know, you're going to have to be perfect in the reading, but, you know, nobody can do every show. Sometimes it's kid shows. Hey, everybody, welcome to the... But yeah, figure out who their audience is. You get that audition. Who's the audience? Who am I going to be talking to? And then talk to them. Terry Briscoe, how do you find the line between performing a character well and overdoing it and making it character-y? You know, it's a really good question, and there is not one simple rule. You got to start with the big picture. And the big picture is, what is this project? Say we're talking video games. Video games tend to lean towards drama, but that doesn't mean there isn't comedy in video games as well. So you want to find where this game lives. What is its energy? What is the feel of this game? Is it sword and sorcery? Is it post-apocalyptic, everything sucks? Is it, World War IV, whatever? That's where you start. Then you come down to, who is this character? What's this character's backstory? And sometimes they're very stereotypical. We're not concerned about what his relationship was with his mother or stuff like that. But you want to find the truth of that character. And all too often, what gets in the way is, one, readiness, and two, trying to prove that you understand what these words mean. People don't speak in a way that they're trying to prove to you that they know what their words mean. They might be trying to prove something, that they know something, or they feel something, or they want something. But they're not trying to prove to you that they can say it in a way that, no, they're saying it. And all too often, we are reading the words like this. But I want to get there. Oh no, what am I going to do? Over enunciating. When you got to let the words sing. You got to let them just flow. And once you do that, you can do it. And one of the things I always say, prepare. Know what it is you're saying. Read the script through enough times so that by the time you open your mouth, the words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. And sounds easy, takes work to get. All right. The Remembrancer. Hello, Mr. Fennoy. Thank you for your work. I've been a fan of yours for years. And now, in part thanks to your advice, I get to use my voice to make YouTube content every week. Wishing you the best. Wow, fantastic. And you know what? I make YouTube content every week too. I'm doing it right now. And just a reminder, this and all the other Ask Dave Fennoy anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training, available 24/7, 365. And someone had mentioned jumping back in the game. Well, to jump back in, and especially if you're just starting, places like Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training are the place to go. I'm not just pumping my site up. There are a lot of other great people out here that have free stuff for you to learn on YouTube. Get as much as you can for no cost. It's out there for you. It's freely shared. Um, and why I say that is I think you want to kind of start getting familiar with the jargon, kind of get your body acclimated to the waters you're going to be swimming in before you start paying out money. You're going to be in a class, and if you haven't done any free prep work, immersing yourself a little bit, you're going to have 2 or 3 questions instead of 1 or 2 questions for everything that's said. You're going to miss more because you didn't take the time to get that free thing that prepares you for your paid thing. So please do that for me, okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terry Briscoe. So in the building that character's truth, what is the first element that you go with? Is it the timeline, something specific about the character, what's happening when you first speak? First thing I want to know is about the character's frame of mind, character's attitude. If there's a backstory and a history, I want to know that. Usually, if there's a long backstory, a lot of history, this is a character who's going to be more complicated. He's going to have more relationships that vary with a wider variety of other characters. And those actually are my favorite kind of characters to play. But you want to start with who that character is. And no matter what it says, those characters are very much like you. Not necessarily you're playing a serial killer. You're not a serial killer, are you? You may be playing the serial killer. But the serial killer, like you, sometimes is just leading a normal life. There's not serial killing every moment of every day. We all have buttons. If you're a woman, you have some buttons. This guy said this to me. This guy said, if you are insert whatever persuasion, Black, Asian, Latin, we have some buttons, things that can be said, things that can happen. Now, hey, if you're a white person, you're going to have some buttons, things that can be said. Whoever we are, we have buttons, but we don't live in those buttons every minute of every day. Sometimes it's just, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Oh, yeah, I'm heading out for dinner. I'll meet you at 5. Too often we're trying to play every element of a character all the time. I promise you, there will be places where that character really gets to come out. And all too often we're trying to figure out, well, how do I say this? I'm going to suggest forget about how to say it. What's the character thinking and feeling and reacting to right now? Play that, and it'll come out here. Takes practice. Oh, how did that pop up there? Okay. I think, we're getting close to wait a minute. Okay, we'll take this one first. The Remembrance. I have a question, if I may. I voice a lot of characters and find these days it can be tricky to make them different from one another. Any advice on how to make them distinct? Thanks again, Mr. Fennoy. Well, find out who they are, where they're from. You know, you have a character, he might be from other place like this, he talk like this, then let him talk, let him do his thing. And that was a big change. But sometimes you just slow him down a little bit, or even without changing my voice, I can just slow it down just a little bit, and suddenly it's a little different character. So you want to find those things. What's the physicality of a character? Is it somebody that walks with a brisk step? Is it somebody who limps a little bit? Your body informs your voice. Allow your body to kind of be how that character's body might be. You ever notice that people who do imitations of they mimic other voices? They always take on a physical characteristic of that character. Big lesson in that. All right, Latanya, you are going to be our last for this evening. If you were just getting into VO this year, what suggestions do you have to prep to be able to join SAG-AFTRA? Well, it'd be a minute before I started looking to join SAG after. The first thing I would want to do is acquaint myself with what's going on in this business. I would join some Facebook groups. I would go to some conferences when I found them. Um, I would start investigating what are the microphones. Oh, find out. Oh, I need a home studio. How do I do that? There's a lot of things that you want to find out. Start making a plan uh, and do that investigation. Who are the best coaches for what? I would take classes instead of private lessons to begin. Um, Once I started working with coaches, I would work with several. Uh, Not necessarily you're paying them all at the same time, but I would work with a coach here. I'd work with a coach here. Why? Because I think we're all saying the same thing. But sometimes you hear it better from one person than another, or the language, or I spend a lot of time figuring out ways to explain what it is I'm trying to get across. Because I remember when, oh, just have fun with it. What the hell does that mean? Um, I want my students to understand what I'm saying. And when we're talking about being a character and creating a character, uh, sometimes the words aren't connecting. So you want to find somebody that you connect with. Oh, I lied. I'm going to do one more, maybe two. Terry Brissiger, always great being with you doing ADFA. Dave, thanks for your time and wisdom. Oh, that wasn't even a question, but I'll take it. It was something nice to say. And I got it. Richelieu Hoff Jr., serial killers aren't killing every moment of every day. Oh, you're quoting me now. You know, I remember years and years ago, there was some thing on the Nazis and Hitler. And, you know, probably one of the most evil creatures to ever walk this planet. He's not alone. There have been a lot of them over the centuries. But he was really nice to his dog. And that always stuck with me. Not because I'm a Hitler apologist or anything like that, but that I don't care how bad you are, there's some, well, not redeeming value, but there's something you do that probably isn't evil. As a matter of fact, I don't think most evil people think that they are evil. Some, Donald Trump, don't think have the capacity to understand the depth of their evilness. And I guess this is also kind of an answer of one of your questions in how do you get into character? How do you find these characters? I think a lot of it has to do with understanding the human condition, because everything we're doing is based on our humanity, how people can be, or how far away from our humanity. Because we've got AIs and monsters from other planets and creatures from wherever that are showing up in our movies, in our television shows, in our video games. So I'm going to leave it with that. This has been a gas. Always love it when I have a day to myself and we can just talk and I get to blab and blab and blab on. Again, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training is my YouTube channel where this will be moments after we click off, and all the other Ask Dave Fennoys are. DaveFennoy.com is where you go if you'd like to study VO with me. Click on the Study VO tab at the top. Follow me at Dave Fennoy, and thanks again. And in the meantime and in between time, book something.